Hello everybody, welcome to race 3 here at Misano this weekend in the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. As you can hear, as you can see, it's a wonderful vibe here right now, and we're just about to have everybody come onto the grid for the grid walk this afternoon. We're allowing the public, the fans, and a lot of people involved in the paddock that don't normally come onto the grid to get out here and witness the show themselves up close and personal. We're going to have a fantastic time here on the grid today. The weather is a lot better than it was. Qualifying was awesome earlier. As you hear, the Italian announcer here at the circuit, Angelo, is going absolutely ballistic. There's such a party atmosphere here at Misano. It's going to be really, really good. Now, one thing that we covered earlier on in the day that I hinted at yesterday was that we have a lot of exciting things going on around the circuit here that isn't just the racing trucks that you'll see on our broadcasts. But I was speaking to Michael Nimch just earlier on, who is the MD of Trailer Dynamics, who work with Krona on an amazing e-trailer. I took a look at it and we had a chat with him earlier on. I'm here with Michael Nimch, the Managing Director of Trailer Dynamics here at the wonderful Krona e-trailer, a fantastic bit of kit. Michael, welcome to Misano for the weekend. First off, how are you enjoying it? It's amazing here in truck racing, isn't it?
Welcome, Jess. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for us here, technology comes together with emotions. Yeah. That's great here. That's great to feel the people, high interest for our product. So great to be here. Weather is now with us.
Yes, indeed, yeah. It's been a bit of a gloomy weekend so far, but finally we get the traditional Misano sunshine with us this weekend. Talk us through this trailer, Michael, because it's an unbelievable piece of equipment. You know, we've seen it going around the circuit over the weekend, and the pace of this thing is unreal, but it's not just all about being fast, is it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we as Trailer Dynamics, we are a tech innovator. Yeah, we are defining the way of driving the entire tractor-trailer system new. Yeah. So we have outsourced selective drivetrain to the trailer. A very powerful axle, 360 kilowatt, which is around 500 horsepower, continuous, or 560 kilowatt hours, which is 800 horsepower, to provide high performance here for this vehicle, which supports the tractor in front, and as a consequence results in diesel consumption reduction and, of course, CO2 reduction, which is very important for us. And in a second application, in a combination with a battery electric truck, we talk about range extension. Yeah, we are up to 500, 600, 700, 800 kilometers in combination with our vehicle.
And that's the thing, you know, like I say, it's not just about providing extra performance or just taking a bit of the weight off. You know, it helps with the emissions, it helps with the whole sustainability of the industry, doesn't it? And, you know, that's something that the championship really aims to strive and follow as part of said industry. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, what we see in the market is a significant increase for emission-reduced or emission-free logistic. And in our vehicle and our technology can help all these diesel tractors out in the market to cope with that demand. So it's a great technology.
And it's a wonderful way to show it off, travelling around with us around Europe this year with the record run. For those at home that might not know what the record run is about, what are you going to be doing with this trailer?
We will have a record round this afternoon here in Misano, and let's see how fast we are. Maybe we are faster than a pace car, let's see. But for us, you know, it's just a presentation. Yeah, it's the presentation of a new technology, help people to understand that this is the future here. Yeah, we all have to talk about decarbonization, efficiency increases, and this is a piece of the puzzle to cope with that.
And it's wonderful to have it here. Thank you very much, Michael. Cheers.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you.
I'm back here on the grid then with Steffi Halm, who's going to be starting 4th on the grid for today's race. Steffi, obviously a bad end to yesterday's race, but the truck is alive and kicking and you're back near the front of the grid.
Yeah, yesterday we don't have the big luck, okay, but yeah, for today it's great. The truck is running, the engine is running. Position 4 for the first race, it's a perfect start again. So thank you for the guys who prepared everything very well again.
And it's obviously very different conditions to yesterday, but it levels the playing field a little bit more, doesn't it, with having these dry conditions, and it means it's a little bit easier to push quite hard and have some strong battles without worrying about aquaplaning, for example.
Yeah, for sure. Today is completely different. The track is completely dry and the temperature is much higher than yesterday. So we didn't have much time today to feel confident in that condition, to find the right setup. But I think we are on the good way. The Super Pole and also the qualifying were good. And I think we have a good package for the long run now in the race.
Well, best of luck, Steffi. Have a good one.
Thank you.
So Steffi Ham, like I say, starting 4th on the grid for today's race. She's going to have a very, very good race with these guys in front of her. She's got Jochen Hahn alongside, and then, of course, we have Sasha Lenz and Norbert Kisch on the front row of the grid. We've got Andre Kurzum and Antonio Albacete on the next row of the grid. We're going to quickly see if we can grab a word with Antonio once again, because we had a little chat with him yesterday, and obviously he was very optimistic in the wet. For the second race, he knew that Norbert Kisch would be coming and chasing him down, but for this one, obviously this is more like his sorts of conditions. Antonio's been racing a long, long time, and he knows what to expect in these sorts of conditions right now. He's having a bit of a pep talk at the moment ahead of the race, a bit of a confidence booster, but not that he needs it. He knows what he's doing. We'll have a quick chat. Antonio, very different day today compared to yesterday, but you've got a fantastic group of people in front of you. Are you just going to play it safe in the early stages or send it?
Well, yeah, it's going to be different. Yeah, we didn't make a very good qualifying, so yeah, it's going to be tough, They are also fast, so I will try to see if I can gain some positions. But yeah, I mean, now the important thing is to take points, So I would like to finish the race, take points, and see what's going on.
Well, that's it. In the early stages of the championship, you have to play it safe, don't you? Get the points early on so you're not on the back foot. Some of the Promoters' Cup drivers are doing the same. The results they were getting yesterday was fantastic. They're really challenging you Titan drivers near the front, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I think they are quite good also. So the things are getting closer. So you have to be fast to be on the front. So we need to try to be fast next one.
Well, best of luck, Antonio. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lovely stuff. Well, that's it. The whole grid is getting so much closer. The Promoters' Cup drivers from a little bit further back are getting quicker and quicker all the time. We've got Stefan Faas alongside Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on the next row of the grid. We'll see whether we can have a quick word with Stefan, shall we, before we have to move on. It won't be long until we will be welcoming our TV viewers from around the world. We're not just streaming on YouTube this year, but we're also streaming all to a lot of TV channels all around the world as well. We'll see. Stefan's not even in there. Oh, Stefan's around here. He's not even bothering to get in the truck yet. Thank you. He's been warned now that I'm on my way. He's been warned. He's hiding now. You can't hide forever. This is not subtle.
Okay.
First off, Stefan, how are you? First weekend of the year. It's a good vibe.
Yes, it's very good vibe. I hope the weather is good in this race, and the rest, it's coming.
Well, it certainly looks promising for now. The Promoters' Cup drivers, I was just saying to the people at home that you guys are so close to the Titan drivers this season, right up here near the front of the grid in qualifying. It must be a big confidence boost.
Yeah, we will see what's happened, yeah, but I think it's good. It's a good omen.
Yeah. And there's no, at the early stage, we've only had 2 races so far, but there's no obvious runaway winners with the Promoters' Cup either. It's very close.
Yeah, it's very close. We must look, yeah.
Do you think Jose Eduardo is a big threat for this season, though? Because, he's come straight from the French Championship. Yes. He's looking good, yeah?
Yes, that's so, yeah.
What's your plan for the start, then? Take it easy or send it?
Every time, take it easy. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Stefan. Have a good one.
Thanks.
So, Stefan Faas will be starting from the 4th row of the grid here. Not far to look forward, though, for him, with all the Titan drivers here. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez alongside him, of course, one of the absolute stars of the Promoters' Cup for this season. We've got John Newell and Jonathan Andre next up behind them, and it's just such a packed grid in terms of talent this season. There's nothing to pick between these drivers. There really isn't. Obviously, when it's drier, it's a lot closer with these guys, because when you get the wet conditions, you see a lot of drivers that have this unbelievable talent in wet conditions. You saw what Norbert Kisch did yesterday. We know Norby is fast, but wow, honestly, the way that he moves in the wet is just absolutely crazy. It really is. Let's take a little walk further down the grid, though. Well, sorry, further to the front of the grid, I should say. And we'll go and see if we can have a word with our pole sitter in just a moment's time. We are going to welcome our TV viewers in just a second, so you will have a bit of a pause from me, and then we will welcome them to the stream from all around the globe. But look at these conditions, look at the vibe. Everyone's ready to race, This is such a positive atmosphere, and it's such a difference to what we had yesterday with the rain. We've got Jochen Hahn and his team all ready to go here on the right-hand side. They're going to be on the inside line for this race. And now I'd like to say welcome to all of our wonderful TV viewers from around the world, wherever you may be around the globe. Welcome to the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm your presenter and commentator this weekend, Chaz Draycott, but don't you worry, Christina and Lena will be with us for later on in the season. We're here on the grid ahead of race 3, one of the final races of the weekend. I wonder actually if we can just grab Tony Idden from the FIA. Tony, how are you enjoying the weekend? It's beautiful weather now. This is what we expected.
Well, it's improved. It wasn't good, but trucks made it and Formula One didn't.
Yeah, fair enough.
You can go anywhere. So,
how's the weekend been from your perspective? Is it all running smoothly? Everyone behaving themselves?
yes, yesterday was a bit slippy. One or two trucks sort of sliding around. Today's a lot better. But the problem now is we've got a hot track temperature, which is heating the tyres, so the tyres are becoming a bit slippy as well now. Yeah, but fine. We don't have a problem.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day, Tony. Thank you very much. Cheers. So, Tony Idden, one of the absolute legends of the FIA, if you ask me. He's a real star, a really, really lovely bloke to speak to. We're going to have a quick look at the track layout here at Misano. It's a very, very difficult circuit to get right. We've got 16 corners here, 4 kilometres, and it is a very, very difficult place for these drivers to get right. So many stop-start sections over the course of the weekend that they have to contend with, and especially in the wet conditions yesterday, boy, they had a tough time with it. But the last section at the end of the circuit, where you go really fast down the back straight into Curva del Carro at the end of the lap, is a very, very tough place to get it slowed down, because you're trying to turn it in through one apex very quickly, slam it on the brakes, and then get it turned in even tighter for the last corner of the circuit. It is a massive, massive challenge. But still, the drivers will be happy that it's drier today instead of being in the wet conditions. We're going to try and see whether we can have a word with Norbert Kish before the minute of silence. I've just been told by our director that we've got 3 minutes. Norby gives long answers, so we'll ask him one question. We'll see whether we can have a word with him. He's just loving the vibe at the moment. He's always got a smile on his face at the front of the grid. Norby, thank you very much. You must be overjoyed with that qualifying session. Perfect conditions as well for race 3 of the weekend.
Oh yeah, it's looking nice weather today. So far so good, qualifying was good, Super Pole was good. We had a healthy 5/10 advantage in the Super Pole. And hope to do the same in the race, but we will see. The start is always very tricky and very tight, especially with Sasha here on my side. He's always making very good starts. So, I try to do the same, try to do a good start, try to stay in front in the first couple of turns, and then I think we have a little bit of a pace advantage. But, you never know. It depends on tire usage as well in the second half of the race. So, but that's usually good for us. So, we'll see. But I'm hopeful. I think we are much more positive than yesterday.
I was going to say, what was the issue yesterday? Because it seemed like it just died, like it was an electrical failure or something.
Yeah, exactly. It was unfortunately an electric failure up here, which was in connection with the ignition circuit. So, then the engine switched off. And after a phone call with Csaba, I could fix the issue, and I came out on my own. After the race was finished, but unfortunately, it was something that I couldn't fix while I was still, in a good position at least. So I had to get out. But yeah, electric things can happen, because also it's a very complicated system. I mean, if you look at it here, you can see it's a very complicated system, so things can happen. But, we are still hopeful, because we still seems to be the fastest, even though the points are not showing that at the moment. But, we try to turn it around, or at least start to turn it around today. And then I hope it happens, and then we keep going on to the next races.
Well, very quickly, you and I both love our sim racing, and a lot of the time you'll see people do last to first challenges. You gave us a real one yesterday.
Yeah, well, yesterday was in the wet conditions. I think we found a really good setup for the wet. I also had a really good feeling, and like a lot of the guys was really kind to me, so they didn't really want to hold me up, so I was given a lot of space. And of course, those guys who I'm usually fighting in the championship, they were giving me a little bit of a harder time. But of course, I think their legs on the throttle started to shake a little bit when I was in the mirror, so they slide a little bit, and then if you keep it smooth, you can have a lot of.
I'm really sorry, Nobby. We've got to observe the minute silence now. My apologies. Sorry. with the band kicking back in, that signifies to me that it's the end of said minute silence. Our Ford F-Max has left the grid for its inspection lap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a run up to my commentary box, but before I do that, I mentioned the Krone e-trailer before when I spoke to Michael Nimch. We're going to show you a quick clip of just how that machine looks when it's doing its own record run while I make mine up to the commentary box. One of the new exciting parts of our race weekends this season is the appearance of the awesome Krone e-trailer, built in association with Trailer Dynamics. The trailer has an electrically powered axle in the rear, which can help reduce emissions by up to 40%. With the centre of gravity being so low and the peak power output being nearly 800 horsepower, Krone are taking it to some of Europe's finest racing circuits, hand in hand with the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, to show us what it can do in their mission record run. The idea is to set as many lap records with a trailer around Europe as possible, and we welcome this amazing concept as part of the spectacle.
È il momento di inaugurare l'attività ovviamente in pista con i protagonisti dopo questi momenti, queste sonorità che hanno anche accompagnato lo schieramento, l'uomo, la necessaria energia della Magic Muller Brand Band, quali tutoriali per accogliere 13 Mazda Tracker in quest'Italia, in questa sfida per il primo atto del campionato continentale High Track con l'egida della FIA, la Federazione Automobilistica Internazionale, che sta per avere via. Vediamo è già partito il Space Track di Ford, è pronto a partire il Space Track di Iveco. Per 30 secondi vedete, l'unica giro di informazione, 12 le tornate da affrontare, parte dalla pole position il cambio di carica, vincitore di gara 2 ieri, Nord Fish, pilota che arriva dall'Ungheria, con il suo Manna, il track di Norimberga.
Apologies for the delay there, everybody. It's never a good thing when you run like mad up to a commentary box to only find that you've been locked out of it. So my apologies. Just had to track down one of the wonderful security people here at Misano to come and let me in. And here we are. So Chaz Draker up here in the commentary box for you for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Round 3 of the 2023 season.
And boy, do we have a scorcher waiting for us. It is mighty hot down there on the grid. There is still a bit of wind in the air, which is nice, so it makes it bearable, you know. It's that sort of hot weather that you can enjoy. Norbert Kirsch and Sascha Lenz start on the front row of the grid, a pairing that has battled for so long in this championship. Jochen Hahn and Steffi Halm, teammate Steffi Halm, on the second row of the grid. Those two are going to be competing this season as De Bull and Von Iveco once again. Andre Curzin with a great 5th place ahead of Antonio Albacete in 6th position. As he was saying, he didn't make such good qualifying earlier, but he's hoping to make some positions in the early stages. Then we have the front two in the Promoters' Cup, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas. John Newell next up in 9th position with Jonathan Andre alongside him in 10th place. And then behind them we have Mark Taylor in 11th position in his first weekend of the championship, and Louis Requenco in the number 64 machine, the glorious dark green Iveco at the back of the grid. Heinrich Clemens Hecker next up in number 25, and he's going to be at the back of the field for this one, but he's certainly going to be very enthusiastic about going forward. Heinrich Clemens Hecker always loves to push the limit and go for it. And we now wait for the field to make its way back around. We have the gorgeous Iveco S-Way pace truck at the front of the field, bio-LNG powered, as you would have seen by the graphic not too long ago. And the bio-LNG machines have these humongous tanks on the side of them. They look so cool when the drivers are using them. You see a lot of them on the roads now. Once you notice the bio-LNG tanks with the dial on the side, you will continually notice them on the roads, believe you me. So we now go into the last couple of corners in this gorgeous weather we've got here at Misano today. And I hope you enjoyed the grid walk as well. I certainly did. I love doing them. Personally, it's been a lifelong dream of mine to do a grid walk like this after growing up watching the likes of Martin Brundle on TV with his legendary grid walks. And I'm super excited to be here this weekend, covering not just the commentary, but of course the presenting duties as well. And I must say, all of the wonderful people at Vega Solutions that provide the coverage for this championship, and all of the ETRA as well, the European Truck Racing Association, they're all looking after me very well to make sure I've got everything I need to do this. And hopefully do it well as well. Anyway, someone else that's going to try and do his job very well is Sascha Lenz here. He's going to try and hold off Norbert Kirsch, or try and get the position off him at least from the start of this race. They come around the final corner now. There's Andre Curzin in the middle of the field with 2 Ivecos in front of him, of Steffi Halm and Jochen Hahn. And round 3 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is underway. No yellow flag laps today. We're going straight into green flag racing, and Sascha Lenz around the outside, and Turn 1 has a bit of a squirm on the brakes. Tries to cut across to the inside. I think Jochen Hahn was running slightly wide there. Steffi Halm's been slightly compromised. Around the outside in the middle of the field goes Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. It looks to me like one of the trucks at the back of the field, maybe Mark Taylor, maybe Louis Requenco, just having a bit of a moment there going across the inside. I think it might have even been Heinrich Clemens Hecker, so Chaz has got it wrong twice, never mind once. Andre Curzim's moved up a position into 4th place, but Norbert Kirsch holds on at the very front of the pack, and that is so important here because we know how good he is at breaking away. He's got an incredible pace advantage in most circuits that we go to. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez running wide there as he tries to get past Antonio Albacete, and he's made that work as well. He gets ahead of the Spaniard. So Antonio, unfortunately, going backwards off the start here. Sascha Lenz looking very aggressive behind Norby, putting his nose down the inside to try and have a look and try and take that lead away from him. He's going to really stick in his wheel tracks here. Sascha was saying that the truck feels really good, but the punch off the corner there by Norby, almost unmatched as the rest of the field filter their way through. John Newell hitting a penalty marker there, not to incriminate him. Same with Mark Taylor. British drivers aren't going to like me. Then we've got Louis Requenco side by side with Heinrich Clemens Hecker there. I think Louis got a little bit held up at the start, had to really brake on the inside of the second part of the chicane and really hold himself back. But the race is underway, and Norbert Kirsch has a couple of truck lengths between himself and second place. Heinrich Clemens Hecker going off for a day at the beach there on the outside thanks to Louis Requenco. He says, no thank you, sunshine, out you go. Iveco versus Scania down the back straight towards Corvone, which is the long right-hander here that they go through, almost flat out in these trucks at 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour is what they're governed to. And now they go into the final couple of corners on the lap curve at Del Carro. There is Stefan Faas in the middle of the field. Stefan doesn't speak much English, so apologies for his short interview, but it was just great to speak to him. He's a fantastic character and a really good friend of all of the guys here in the championship. He's everybody's friend, is Stefan. We love him. So top three across the line then. Norbert Kish, Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn. They remain in the same positions. But Andre Kurzim moves up a spot ahead of Steffi Halm. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez moves up a spot ahead of Antonio Albertetti. It seems like that outside line into turn one, not the favoured one actually, when it comes to the first couple of corners. Sometimes they can make it work, like Sascha Lenz tried to. He chucked it around the outside, hoping to get the inside for the second part of the chicane, the much tighter inside line, so he could then cut across the front of Norby on the exit, but no, it did not come to fruition. And Norbert Kish at the end of the first lap has a 1.3 second lead over Sascha. But Sascha, of course, starting a lot higher up the grid today. There is a component off one of the trucks that's fallen off. There was a few pieces coming off by the look of it. That's on the outside of the final corner. Apparently there's oil on the circuit, so someone's had some sort of contact or failure there. Not quite sure what's caused it. I'm going to keep my eye on them as they go into turn 8, because I can see it directly out of the window. It's clearly very hot, that component as well. It looks like it's come straight from the engine. What on earth is that? I'm trying to figure out what that was or who it was from, but it looks to me like I'm pretty sure everybody went through turn 8 as they came into view. So I'm not sure if anybody's had a retirement to worry about from it. It doesn't look like there's anybody. Actually, I can see a marshal on the exit of turn 6 that has just run back across the circuit. So I'm not sure if someone's been off down there, but he seemed to want to get off the circuit pretty sharpish. So hopefully no retirements at this moment. Andre Kurzim there looking like he has to defend from Steffi Halm. You can almost see the sort of the flip in the livery here. So Andre Kurzim ran an almost identical livery to Steffi last season with white and yellow instead. Like Jochen runs the white and blue, and even Lucas Hahn, who we'll see later in the year, running the white and blue. I see what they're like getting around the final corner, because apparently there's oil on the circuit. It might just be on the exit. It seems fine. I think they've just hit the penalty markers and knocked it down. And then from there, that's maybe where the damage came. We've got a black and white flag for truck 81, which is Mark Taylor at turn 5. Apologies there, everybody. I lost the connection to the audio for just a moment there. My apologies, but we've got Steffi Halm here having a go at Andre Kurzim right now, giving him a bit of a bump there into Curva del Caro, making sure that she knows her intentions are made clear. She's certainly pressurising him a lot here to make sure that he knows she's there and he knows that she wants to come through. He runs a little bit wide onto the apex of the corner, does Andre. Nice battle for 4th position. Very, very close indeed. You've got to love it. As the trucks scream their way past my my commentary box here at the circuit, screaming away, shaking the entire box. All of them through once again, but it looks like Louis Requenco has lost that lap, and it was him that had the issue. So, yeah, the unfortunate retirement of Louis Requenco has actually drawn a lot of people to the fence on the back straight, it seems. There's a number of them now making their way over there, so wherever he is pulled off at the side of the road must be around that part of the circuit. Andre Kurzim throwing the truck one way, then the other. You could see the body roll of the machine as he really threw it in. There's a black and white flag at turn 8 for truck 18, which is John Newell. Mark Taylor has 2 penalties at this moment in time, as he's hit the penalty markers twice. He needs to be careful, as finally Antonio Albertetti makes the move down the inside of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, throws it up the inside to get the move made, and manages to make it stick on the exit of the corner on the 4th lap of this race. The timer in the top left is the lap counter shows us how many laps we've completed over the course of this race. As right now the field spreading out a little bit, but not too much right now, as Andre Kurtim still under pressure from Steffi Helm. Antonio Albertetti trying to get away from Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who no longer has that buffer behind him, with Stefan Faas in 8th position. Stefan closing in, and like I said before, it's so tight at the top of the Promoters' Cup already this season. We're going to be in for one hell of a fight, and Stefan is certain to take that to Jose Eduardo. Here is Steffi Helm, though, on the back of Andre Kurtim once more. She's still trying to get it tucked in and get it working on the exit of the final corner. She's not able to get it just spot on just yet. She really is throwing this truck around to make sure that Andre could maybe make a mistake. You've got to just get into your rival's head at this point. You really have to get in the mirrors, fill the mirrors, make sure that they know that you're there at every waking moment. Every time they could be on the brakes into a corner, you have to be there in front of them. Oh, sorry, in the rearview mirror, I apologise. Looks like Jonathan Andre has got past Mark Taylor on this lap as well. I believe that was the position change that just happened on the left-hand side of the screen. So Heinrich Clemens Hecker is just inside the top 10 right now. John Newell next up. We've got 4 German drivers in a row inside the top 5. Lenz, Hahn, Helm is now ahead of Kurzim, as you see there. Steffi Helm has got it done. Norbert Kish leads, getting away from Sasha Lenz, but Steffi Helm makes the move as they go hard onto the brakes now into turn 8. Looks amazing out of the window as the truck's noses really dive to the ground. Can Andre get anything done on the exit? No, he has not. There is Stefan Faas. Lost a little bit of ground, actually, to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. You can see, though, that the penalty marker has been hit. They're almost like, I think they're about 5 feet tall, these penalty markers. They are huge things, and they are all foam, so they're very, very easy to knock over, but they do self-right a lot of the time. It's not often that they will completely pop out and roll around on the surface. You do get them occasionally being completely wiped out. But it depends on which corner they're at, to be honest, or where they're roughly located in relation to the racing surface. So, Steffi Helm now in front of Andre Kurzim. Can she break away and make strides going forward in this situation? Because it's so easy now for Andre to sit behind. Now that Steffi's the quicker one, Andre can sit behind and try and figure out where she is quicker and what he might be doing differently, and then he could pick up on those little details and get quicker himself and start to catch back up. Norbert Kish has crossed the line. Sasha Lenz behind him. And then Jochen Hahn a good few seconds back as well. It's quite evenly spread between the 3 of them at the moment. Steffi there ahead of Andre. Antonio Albertetti waiting in the wings as well. You can bet that Antonio is not going to be asked twice for making a move. We've got a black and white flag for turn 4 for Steffi Helm. I assume that was track limits when she overtook Andre Kurzim. And apparently number 44, which is Steffi Helm, has no radio at the moment. And apparently the team have let race direction know that she's got no radio, but have also noted that she has some potential gearbox issues. So hopefully for Steffi's sake that's not true, but they wouldn't say it if it wasn't. So we'll have to see whether the truck makes it, because she had gearbox issues yesterday. That's what initially led to the engine blowing up. It was a big knock-on effect. But the engines themselves are filled with our wonderful 100% renewable HVO diesel. It reduces the emissions of these trucks by up to 92%, and it's a real big step in moving this championship forwards in terms of sustainability, which is one of the main things that, well, it's the main ethos of the championship, is that we do go racing, but we do it cleanly. And as you would have seen as well, following our press releases and the social media of the championship as well, it received a lot of amazing recognition at the end of 2022 for offsetting the unavoidable carbon emissions And the championship has made a big effort to ensure that said carbon emissions have been completely offset for this year. The championship has committed as well to be completely carbon neutral by 2038 at the latest. And they are still continuing to make big, big steps forward towards that as well. As you've seen this weekend, we have the e-truck here as well, the Iveco S-Way e-truck. If you haven't seen that already, please do go and have a look at it and try and see it via the social medias that we have, all the different forums where we post all the amazing things that go on throughout these race weekends. Look at this train, though, that we've got right now. Steffi Halm in front of Andre Curzin, but not breaking away. Then Antonio Albertetti just behind. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez leading the Promoters' Cup in this race. And then Stefan Faas in number 24 just behind. There's some clever fans that have found shelter. They're the fans on the start-finish straight. But they have the fantastic benefit here on the start-finish straight of just being able to turn around and see the back straight just behind them as well. So you've got a lot visible on this circuit here at Misano. Full name, Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. There's a penalty marker going for a ride. Not quite sure who it would have been that took that one out, but still. Penalty markers do get abused sometimes here in the championship. Sounds like somebody's had a big old slide. I think it might have been Sasha Lenz as he came out of turn 8, really lighting the rears up, just overdoing it slightly. But he's trying to score points now, and it's like Antonio Albertetti was saying earlier, points at this early stage of the championship, they're so important. You have to play it safe sometimes, rather than going for every single move that you can. You have to just have your wits about you, pick your battles. Mark Taylor looks like he wants to pick his battles, actually, because, Jonathan Andre in front of him has not disappeared up the road at all. He's not been able to get away. And there's only a couple of tenths of a second between them last time round when they went through one of these sector beams. But Norbert Kish right now, 3.2 second lead over Sasha Lenz. That will update in a moment, I believe, when he completes the final sector. But around the last couple of corners, he's making it look very, very good right now, is Norby. He's not streaking away like he did in the second race yesterday. He came through from the back of the grid. Spoilers, by the way. He came through from the back of the grid in the wet and won by 18 seconds. It was an absolutely unbelievable performance. One of the finest. It was vintage Norby, as somebody in the paddock described it to me as. Sasha Lenz in second place, still looking good. Jochen Hahn in third, just not quite able to stick with them at the moment. Sasha Lenz was very sideways into turn 1. We've got a number of drivers getting black and white flags down at turn 6, actually. We've got 2 at turn 16, which is trucks 18 and 38. That's John Newell and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And then at turn 6, on the last lap, we had 3 black and white flags going out for Antonio Albertetti. Actually 4. Antonio Albertetti, Sasha Lenz, Jonathan Andre, Stefan Faas, and now Heinrich Clementecker as well. So 5 warnings at turn 6 in just 1 lap. So clearly the drivers are pushing the limits now. Norby mentioned earlier that tyre usage as well is a factor in these races, and especially in this sort of temperature that we get, you have to be so careful with overdoing it on the tyres. They're a very, very solid tyre from Goodyear, but still, the way these drivers drive and get the most out of it and really throw these trucks around, even with the rears as well, the way they light up the rear tyres in these trucks and do these amazing drifts and slides, it's so easy for the tyres to get worn out over the course of even just like a 15-minute race. You know, our races are usually around 25 minutes, but still, the drivers have to be conscious of the tyre life all the time to look after it. Antonio Albertetti isn't making waves at the moment, getting past Andre Curzin, but he's gradually just chipping away at that gap, and he's getting himself into a comfortable position where he can sit right behind him and just give him that little bit of unnerving pressure from just behind. Just again, letting him know that he's there, just putting the pressure on where needs be and not overdoing it. Into Curva del Carro once more. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez looking good now at the front of the Promoters' Cup field. He's actually getting away slightly from Stefan Faas. There is Antonio Albertetti, chasing down Andre Curzin still. The gap is only a couple of truck lengths right now. Antonio seems pretty decent in the middle sector of the lap compared to Andre, but Andre now has seen Steffi Halm for a couple of laps and has been able to, pick apart how she is attacking the circuit, what she is doing and when. So he may have just developed his pace even over the course of the last few laps, you know, just learning how the truck behaves at a certain angle, you know, being able to really throw it in and balance it on the throttle on the way out. That's one thing that's so important to do in these trucks, is really not overdo it on the throttle. When you go up through the gears oh so quickly, you can just snatch a gear and suddenly spin up the rears and it will spit the truck completely sideways. Into turn 4, Antonio Albertetti was sort of having a half look down the inside of Andre Kursim, but nothing doing this time round. Sounds like someone's having another moment once again at turn 8, and again it seems like it was Sasha Lenz. Sasha's pushing very, very hard. And there is Antonio in the brand new MAN for this season. It's a brand new truck built by T-Sport Bernau. Tim Frost and Tom doing an amazing job with that truck. They were saying that they spent so long building it and so many hours, but it was non-stop work, and they have produced a real belter of a racing truck. She looks absolutely gorgeous. And they've done a fantastic series of videos, actually, on their social media and on YouTube as well, that you can go and watch, of the sort of build as it goes on, and, you know, unveiling the engine and checking it all out and giving us an idea of what part is what, how it all connects, and, you know, what goes into building a racing truck, because it's not something that everybody looks into that much. Or, you know, we see the final results here on the racing circuit when they're all done and they're tested and they've come here and traveled all this way to go racing, but so much effort goes on behind the scenes to build these trucks. And when you see a racing truck that is just a pair of chassis rails, you will not believe how simple it starts out as. It's literally like 2 metal girders that forms the middle of the truck, and that's all it is at the beginning. It is amazing how minimal they are, but they are purpose-built racing machines. Gorgeous to look at, in my opinion. They're not the most conventional racing machines, of course, but I still think that these absolute giants of motorsport are beautiful beasts. Here's Eduardo Rodriguez right now. He's looking beautiful in this race, isn't he, at the moment? Stefan Fast second in the Promoters Cup, and John Newell holding on to 3rd place. He's got a decent gap back now to Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, who's been reeled in a little bit by Mark Taylor. Taylor's got back ahead of Jonathan Andre, continues to go forward. He's just snatched a break there into turn 1, though, as Mark Taylor. Just pushing a little bit too hard into that chicane. It's so easy. There's Jonathan Andre, the final driver on the field at the moment. But we're here on lap 10 already now, and Norbert Kish is starting to break away even further now. 5.7 second lead. Still, Antonio Albertetti sits behind Andre Kurzim. He's going to be going as hard as he can now to try and get this done, but at the end of the day, he's got a couple of laps left to go, and he'll know that as well. He's a very wise racer, Antonio. He's got over 530 starts in this championship. He's got over 280 podiums and over 100 wins, so he knows what he's doing. He's a 3-time European champion. I believe it was 2005, 6 and 10, yes it was, that he won the championship. There's been an amazing run of champions, actually, between 2010 and just last year, actually. I believe it's just Antonio, Norbert and Jochen, and then Adam Lachko won 1 in the middle, but those guys have all been champions since 2010. So 2010 it was Albertetti, 2011, 12 and 13 was Jochen, 2014 and 15 was Norby, then it went back to Jochen in 2016. Adam Lachko won his 1 title in 2017. Then Jochen did back-to-back 2018 and 19. We didn't have a series in 2020, but then, of course, 2021 and 2022, the revival of Norbert Kish and the incredible Revace Racing. Norby now a 4-time champion, apologies, not a 3-time champion, as I mistakenly mentioned before. But he's looking to do the hat-trick this time round and get 3 on the bounce. I'm just looking to get a position at the moment is Antonio Albertetti. He, of course, re-overtook Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, but he's only where he started at this moment in time. We've had another, let me just count them, 6. Another 6 black and white flag warnings at turn 6. So I'll tell you where that is. These guys are now just coming into turn 4. They go through the right-hander at turn 5, and this next left-hander is just there. On the exit of there is where I believe that everybody's running wide, but there's so many penalties coming in, and they keep coming in. There's even been a penalty as well for the number 25, which is Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, for overspeeding. So hopefully for his sake, it isn't true, but the drivers can get these trucks over 100 miles an hour, 160 Ks, but they are told not to, obviously. It's part of the regulations that they do not exceed 100 miles an hour. It's on safety grounds. That's why you don't see the drivers slipstreaming each other as much, because at the end of the day, all you're doing is sitting behind the truck in front of you and just filling your own truck with hot air that isn't useful at all. You may as well just pull out to one side slightly and just get used to all the cool air in front of you. Just use all of that cool air. Antonio actually losing a couple of truck lengths to Andre Kursim, and here's a battle down the back straight. This is Mark Taylor now trying to overtake Heinrich Clemens Hecker. I said before that once he'd got past Jonathan Andre, he was on to catch him up. We're going to be on the final lap of the race now, I believe, after completing 11 of them. And there you go, final lap is confirmed by race control. It's Norbert Kirsch from Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm and Andre Kursim. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez leading the Promoters Cup at the moment. He's ahead of Stefan Faas and then John Newell as well. Those three currently occupying the podium spots within the class. There is no further action for the number 25 and its potential overspeeding. But that at the side of the road there is Louis Riquenco. I'm not sure if I didn't notice that before or whether it was just not on a wide angle. I'm not sure. But I did not realise that that's where Louis had pulled the truck over to one side. In fact, I can just through a very tight angle see him out of the window at the far end of the media centre. So Norbert Kish with a big lead. There it is, 6 seconds at the moment over Sascha Lenz, who kicks the back end out on the Apollo Tyres SL Truck Sport 30 machine. And then Jochen Hahn next up. He's another 5.2 seconds back from Sascha. Steffi Halm is nearly 10 seconds further back from him, but Andre Kursim still ahead of Antonio Albacete, doing all that he needs to do at the moment to hold on to his position. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, the reigning French champion, coming into this, doing a great job and leading the Promoters Cup once again. Jose Eduardo actually raced at Jarama in 2016 with us, where they made history in being the only 3-generation family that have been on a racetrack all at the same time. His father, Jose, and his grandfather, Eduardo. Around the final corner to take back-to-back race victories here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is Norbert Kish. He wins race 3 of the weekend here at Misano, and with a big beep of the horn across the line, shows his delight at taking another race win. Sascha Lenz gets a great second place for the Apollo Tyres SL Truck Sport 30 team, and Jochen Hahn completes the podium again. 1, 2 and 3 are 1, 3 and 2 effectively our top 3 from last year's championship. Steffi Halm recovers to 4th place. Great points for Steffi after a horrible day yesterday. Andre Kursim next up in 5th position, stays ahead of Antonio Albacete. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez wins in the Promoters Cup. Stefan Faas finishing in 2nd place in class, and John Newell getting another podium in the Promoters Cup in his first session, or his first race weekend of his first full campaign. Heinrich Clemens Hecker finishes next up ahead of Mark Taylor after a great battle towards the end there. He managed to hold the Englishman off, and then Jonathan Andre is the final truck to cross the line. Louis Riquenco, unfortunately, out of the race after just 1 lap. I think he hit the penalty marker on the exit of the corner, and it must have damaged something underneath the truck, because he didn't make it much further than that. I had an inkling that he pulled over on the back straight, but no, that is not the case. But Norbert Kish takes another great victory ahead of Sascha Lenz with another awesome 2nd place and big points for the team. Jochen Hahn continues his great weekend with another podium. It's been a wonderful weekend for Iveco and for the Die Bullen von Iveco team. And we now wait for the trucks and their drivers to make their way back round into the paddock, and then they will be up onto the podium. We may have, of course, a quick interview in a little bit. I believe my colleague Alice will be down there trying to interview them. We believe we've sorted the microphone issue from yesterday. I think as we were just underneath the pit building, some of the signal from the microphone to the camera was being obstructed by something, but we're not quite sure what. It seems like we've got a way around that, at least at this moment in time. We can all keep our fingers crossed, can't we? Well, I hope you enjoyed that first race of the day. We don't forget we have another one coming up later on, but of course stick with us here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship for more of this from Norbert Kish. Shredding those rear tyres and doing some awesome drifting. He's very good at it. These trucks are all over 5 tons, and about 3.5 tons of that, as per the regulations, I think it's 3,150 kilos, has to be measured over the front axle. So there's not much weight at all over the rear end, hence the ability to obviously kick the back end out like that and break traction easily and still be able to really control the slide because there's not a lot of weight coming around in a big pendulum effect from the back. And into the paddock comes Norbert Kish. That was a lovely shot. I believe that was Torsten getting us that shot there. That was fantastic. It might have been Fleischi as well, the cameraman that was with me over the course of the day as we did our grid walks. There is Sascha Lenz pulling in into second position. And then Jochen Hahn, another podium for him, as Andre Kurtim leads the rest of the pack through into the scrutineering bay. And now the drivers will disembark their vehicles. There is the queue getting into the scrutineering. Clap of the hands from Norby. Very well done to the team, and the celebrations will begin with everybody. Another great victory to get their campaign off to a good start. The electrical woes of yesterday certainly gone and out of the window now. And they can finally get back to full speed and their usual winning ways. They've got a great squad down there at Reverse Racing. There's Sascha Lenz. He's very happy with a second place finish, of course. And there's Jane as well. And Jochen Hahn as well. Another podium for him. He can be really pleased with that one. And they'll be hoping, of course, to gain more of those later on in the day. Hopefully as well getting more Ivecos on the podium. We had a lot of them right up there at the front of the pack too in the early stages of the races. Norby begins the debrief. Explains what's went on, but still a lot of smiles on his face and laughs from the team as well, so clearly nothing to worry about at all. There's Janine on the left-hand side saying, come on, Norby, you need to go for an interview now. He loves an interview, does Norby. He gives a very good answer, as we saw earlier on. I'm really sorry that I had to cut him off, but he's going to be down there for an interview with Alice in just a second. Congratulations to Jochen, and he is now there with Alice, ready to have a chat.
Okay, so I'm here with race winner overall Norbert Kish, from pole to the victory. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, it was a good race. I mean, the start was very tight as always. Sascha again had a very good start, and we were really close, even a little bit touching in the first turn. But I could come in front, and then I just had to concentrate on myself to not to make any mistakes. Hit my points, and do what I know we can do. And then slowly we could start to build a gap. So it was a good race. I am really happy.
And for the race this afternoon, you start from 8th. Maybe another win on the cards?
I'm not sure. As you could see in the dry conditions, it's much more closer. And Sascha was keeping up really well in the first half of the race, and also I see Johan was coming there. So it's with these kind of small gaps, it's really difficult to overtake. So I'm not sure about the second race, but we do what we can. If we have some opportunities, for sure we will take it.
Thank you very much. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Apologies, everybody. We had another disconnect of the audio there, but we've got Norbert Kish winning by 6.7 seconds over Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. Steffi Halm finishing in 4th place with Andre Kurzim in 5th position. Antonio Albertetti, he wasn't probably going to be too happy with that race because he didn't make as many advances as we would have expected. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez wins in the Promoters' Cup, with Stefan Faas and John Newell 2nd and 3rd in said Promoters' Cup, and Heinrich Clemens Hecker rounds out your top 10 finishers. Behind them was just about Mark Taylor. He had a brilliant second wind later on in that race, with Jonathan Andre dropping back a little bit into 12th place. And then, of course, Louis Requenco was not classified at the end. And now we wait for the drivers to make their way to the podium. John Newell will be happy for some more silverware from this weekend. And now we have the circuit announcer waiting to start the presentation and give out all of the awards and bring everyone up onto the podium. And Sascha Lenz is going to be the second driver up on the podium because there is the boss man, Jochen Hahn, a real star in this championship, 6-time champion Jochen Hahn. Most titles, most poles, most race wins, most starts for Jochen Hahn. And second place is going to get a big old roar and a big clap. Sascha Lenz, wearing the purple this year instead of his usual black and green, still has the green highlights on the truck, as you see there as well. And it's not, it's very easy to spot the Apollo tyres people. They're all fantastic people. But again, your race winner, second race win of the season for Norbert Kish. And a huge round of applause from down below. And a handshake to both of the other guys. Great respect between the three of them. They'll respect each other so much, these guys. They know just how quick they are and how good they all are at what they do. You know, they share this amazing talent. Jochen Hahn gets another one for the trophy, well, warehouse. Never mind, trophy cupboard. Another trophy there for Sascha Lenz as well. That's a great result that is for the team after yesterday, because he had to start from right near the back of the grid in the first race. He recovered well and then had to fight his way through in the second race as well and lose the lead. But there you go, race winner once again. Norbert Kish takes another trophy home for Reveche Racing. And a phenomenal win once more. And we will now get the Hungarian national anthem. And there you go then, Norbert Kish, the Hungarian hero, really showing us once again that he means business this year. He's on his way to a third title, certainly with the confidence that he's got. But it's very early stages yet, maybe a bit silly of me to say that, to be fair. You never know what can happen in a championship like this. We can have so many ups and downs for drivers, so many changes in fortunes, development over the course of the season as well, with trucks getting better, drivers getting better as well, changing their mindset and just changing their approach to certain elements of the championship. And a great big round of applause from everybody down below for the drivers. And they take the champagne and walk off the podium. There will be no spraying of the champagne this weekend as a mark of respect to those affected by the flooding in northern eastern Italy, to which we send our best wishes. And now we're going to get the Promoters' Cup podium next up. There's a guard of honour almost in the background there. And now we wait now for the announcer to bring up the drivers one by one, the top three from the Promoters' Cup. And they're going to start us with John Newell, the first driver. But here's a look at the championship overall at the moment after the third race of the season. And look at that, it's closing up already. Jochen Hahn, 38 points. Sascha Lenz on 32. Norbert Kish on 30 now after taking 10 from yesterday's race and 20 from that first race there of today. Antonio Albertetti on 25. 18 points for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez ahead of Stefan Faas. Steffi Halm on 10 points. Another score for her today will help that. Jonathan Andre and John Newell in the top 10 in the championship at this moment in time. On 3 points we have Heinrich Clemens Hecker. 2 points for Mark Taylor and Louis Requenco. But Jochen Hahn comes away from round 3 as the championship leader. And we'll go into the next race with a lot of confidence. John Newell next up. A lovely bloke is John from the UK. And he's certainly hoping to continue learning and continue developing his truck and his pace as the season goes on. Second place going the way of Stefan Faas. And he'll be a very happy boy with some more silverware. Position 2 indeed. He's a good friend of the guys in the TV company as well, so they always get on and there's always good banter. Later on in the season, you'll see, obviously, champagne spraying and all sorts. They soak our cameramen. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, he's familiar with the top step in truck racing, and he's a real challenger for the Promoters' Cup this season, if not the guy to beat coming into this as reigning French champion. John Newell lifts his trophy aloft. Another fantastic accolade to take away from this weekend. And then second place, Stefan Faas with some more silverware for Tank Pool 24, or glassware as such. And then the race winners trophy going the way of Portuguese driver, third generation driver in his family, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And now we'll have the Portuguese national anthem for Jose Eduardo. Lovely stuff. The Portuguese national anthem there for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. The guys will now pose on the top step of the podium for some pictures. I don't think any of them have their own branded caps with them at this moment in time. They now pose to the left slightly for Richard Kaimberger, our official photographer. And a big round of applause from down below from everyone involved. And they make their way off the podium. We'll have a quick look at the Promoters' Cup Championship standings in just a second, and you'll see what the situation is there while the third podium goes on, which is for the teams. There you go, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, top of the pile of 49 points. Stefan Faas going with him with only 9 points between the two of them at this moment in time. Jonathan Andre in third place on 26 points ahead of Heinrich Clemens Hecker on 23. John Newell on 22. Then we have Mark Taylor on 15 and Louis Requenco still with 12 points. And a bit of a shaky start to the season for some of them, but it's certainly going to sort itself out as it goes on. And we're excited to see how it all levels out as the season progresses. What we'll do now, though, is have a quick look back at some of the finest images from the third race here today at Misano. Certainly with the wind blowing and the flags waving in the wind, it was a beautiful sight as the trucks left the grid ready for the first race of the day. And Sascha Lenz really tried everything he could to take on Norbert Kish in turn 1, but ultimately Norby would once again put down an incredible first lap, hold off the other drivers and make a break for the front of the pack. There was some good battling going on in the Promoters' Cup as everybody put pressure on one another. There was unfortunately an issue for Louis Requenco as his truck broke down after losing a component over the penalty markers out of turn 1. And Steffi Halm started a fantastic chase of Andre Kurzim. Antonio Albertetti getting past Jose Eduardo Rodriguez after losing places at the start, and Steffi would finally get the move done, penalty markers or not, and move up into 4th position. There were battles brewing all the way up and down the order, but there wasn't too much position changing from that point onwards. Everybody held station, despite the efforts of Mark Taylor and Heinrich Clemens Hecker, and Norbert Kish took his second race win of the season, second win on the bounce from Sascha Lenz and from Jochen Hahn. A lot of smiles and positive vibes here at Misano after race 3 of the weekend. And don't forget, we have another race coming up for you just a bit later on, which is going to be a great finale to the weekend. The driver that finished the race in 8th place will start from the very front of the grid. And as I look back down on our graphics, I can tell you that that will be Stefan Faas. It's going to be important for him as well in the Promoters' Cup battle with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, because those two are going to be on the front row of the grid ahead of Antonio Albacete and Andre Kurzim. Norbert Kish, of course, starting from 8th on the grid. But right now, we're going to go down to the pit lane and we're going to speak with Alice.
Thank you very much. I'm here with the Promoters' Cup winner, Jose Rodriguez. Jose, take us through the race.
Yeah, the race is very hard. I take the victory in the Promoters' Cup. It's the most important. And focus in the race 4. Is this possible? Win the next race.
Obviously, for the race 4, you'll be reverse grid starting second, but on the front row with Stefan. How's that? How will that be for you?
I feel good in front, but is the race is very hard in race 4, and we'll see.
Congratulations and best of luck. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Alice. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez there, just explaining that, you know, he's got to have that confidence at the front of the grid, and that's the thing for these Promoters' Cup drivers. We put them right near the front of the grid. Sometimes they get a fantastic break for it, and we do see them take outright race victories. That's the thing, you know. It's not always just our Titan drivers that always come through and take the victories. We do often get Promoters' Cup drivers coming through from further down the order in the first race to get reversed onto the front row of the grid for the second race, and then they will go on to take outright race victories. And it is a wonderful, wonderful thing to see, because you see some of the drivers that, you know, maybe they don't qualify completely on pace at the front of the grid. You know, they're not always at the very sharp end during qualifying, but they manage to get the race results that they want, and they taste that victory and that triumph when they take an overall race win. And race 4 will be live streamed from 20 to 4 this afternoon, so just over an hour's time before we go live once again down on the grid. And then we will be hopefully looking forward to another grid walk with me, Chaz Draycott. But thank you very much for joining us, everybody, for race 3 here at Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We'll see you in a little bit. Goodbye.